Welcome. You're listening to the Good Girls Don't podcast with Ashleigh
and Verity Mansfield.
This is the podcast where we smash those rules that we've been taught to follow both as men and women and burn the damn rule book. We're tackling the big issues and the issues nobody wants to talk about, and we'll be fiercely feminist about it.
This podcast is about inspiration, education, compassion, and being the change that you need to see in this world. This podcast is for the trailblazers, the freedom fighters, and the soul igniters, and all the women just like you who are ready to break the good girl rules and be heard.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of Australia and its First Nations people on which this podcast is produced and consumed. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging.
Get ready for the revolution. It's coming to you now. It's coming to you now. We're gonna sing an evolution. And they'll never bring us down. No, they'll never bring us down.
I could not help myself from doing that, given the topic at hand today.
Beautiful, Ashley.
In case this hasn't twigged for you by the title of this episode or that wonderful, glorious sound I have just produced, not with my bum, by the way, the topic at hand to brighten your life at the moment and break more taboos and good girl rules is poop and fluffs.
And it's such a funny, Ashley and I have been killing ourselves laughing about this because it's one of those things, I think, as a good girl, where you're expected not to poop or expected not to fart. And then when you do it, people are always horrified. Or I know for myself, I won't poop outside my house because I don't know why. My body is just like, no way, it's not going there. It doesn't want to know anything about it. And I'll be on holiday. My partner is like, babe, it's time.
I was going to ask what happens when you go away.
You need to go. It's been 4 days. And I'm like, no.
Does your tummy not hurt from that?
I start to look a bit pregnant. Yeah. That's what my partner's like, honey.
Rub the food, baby. Can you feel it kick?
But yeah, it's become this big joke. And I'm one of those girls as well. I like to keep those kind of things slightly private. I'm shut the door, stay away. It doesn't need to be witnessed.
Is that why we're talking about it so publicly?
Yeah, I've dated guys where, I've dated guys who've left the door open and they're talking to me. And I'm like, just shut the door. I don't need to witness this.
There are some things that need to be kept sacred, right?
Oh, totally. Although I've got a very, very dear, very close family member who I absolutely adore, and she will actually text me and tell me when she's been to the toilet.
I was that friend for a lot of years with some girlfriends. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, she'll just text me and be like, oh, I so needed that. So good. Feeling so good right now.
It's so much lighter and closer to God.
So we thought, why not have a conversation about poo and farts? Because it really is something that we always have good giggle about. And yet it's something that we almost sometimes pretend we don't even do.
Yeah, I feel like if you bring up, you can't talk about, as we call it in my household, natural bodily functions.
What? Natural?
Well, this is what my partner keeps telling me, but I insist that when it comes to him, they are most unnatural. Because trust me, if you'd been around him, you would agree with me. Something not right there. But you can't talk about it at the dinner table with your mates or with your friends and family. Yet, I don't know about you guys listening, farts and poo are like the staple of my sense of humor. They are by far the most hilarious thing in life to me. And I don't know where I would be. I think I'd be super depressed without
super depressed.
Like, I'm just amazed. I'm impressed with what our bodies can do.
I have to say, when I was married, we were fast asleep one night, and my partner at the time when I was married, he woke up screaming, like absolutely petrified. And I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And he's like, oh my God, did you hear that? Oh my God, oh my God. And I turned around to him. I was like, you farted. He'd farted so loudly and violently. He'd woken himself up out of a sleep and was screaming out of fright. And that was it. I was doubled over in the bed. We actually had to leave the room. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting on the couch in the middle of winter. And we were like, he'd just gotten a job as apprentice. I was like a poor student. And so we're sitting there like freezing cold in the middle of winter with doonas wrapped around us, like rocking back and forth, trying to stay warm, trying to like count down. And I'm like, right, go back in the bedroom. Can we go back to sleep? Yeah. And he's like, nope. I was just like, I hate you right now. I hate you right now.
I remember like when I first started dating my partner, and like I was in a share house and he'd come over, and this was like, I think the very first time he'd ever come to my house. And I was like, oh my God, new boyfriend, he's coming to my house. We can have pizza. And this was before Netflix. So it was DVDs and chill. And I sort of had this thing where I was like, hey, if you need to burp, like it's fine. If you need to fluff, assuming like most of the people I had dated up till then never fluffed in front of me. My bedroom was right next to the bathroom. I was like,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with someone leaving the room and then just coming back.
I am too, but that's not what my partner thought. As soon as I said these words, I shit you not.
Pardon the pun.
As soon as I said these words, he turned around, he looked me directly in the eye, and he let out the longest, loudest fart I think I have ever heard in my life. And he made eye contact the entire time.
Is that it? Were you sold? You're like, this is the man for me.
This is it. I'm going to marry this man.
I'm going to marry this man. And now that
I
gas.
couldn't stop laughing. I laughed all night. I woke up laughing several times that night in my dreams because it was just so funny. He's horrified by that, and I'm pretty sure he's probably cringing now in another room hearing me talk about it, but whatever.
Or when he listens back.
He should not be doing that on a first sleepover. Grown-up sleepover.
It's always that first sleepover when you're dating someone and you're like, haven't farted. And you're like,
I need
this
to
is
poop.
going really well. And then in the middle of the night, you kind of wake up you do that half awake moment and you fart. You're like, oh crap.
How quiet can I make this?
I hope they didn't hear that. Pretend to be asleep.
Oh, God, I hope that doesn't smell.
Well, that's why everyone blames the dog.
Yeah, but I've never had a pet dog. It's always been pretty obvious.
Just get a toy one, stick him in the corner of the room, just blame it anyway.
That's a really good idea.
That's a good idea. So, I found some interesting facts on farting. I did. Do you know that only 1% of your fart actually smells?
Like, it's pretty powerful.
I know. 99% of farts are odorless gas, like carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and methane, which only leaves 1% of the smelly stuff, which apparently is hydrogen sulfide.
That's a lot of science for the next stinker that I do or my partner does. Like,
the next time someone tells you fart smells, you can be like, no, just 1%.
The 1%, guys. The 1% always smell.
1% that smells. You're ignoring that the 99%, okay?
Stop oppressing them.
This is another interesting fact, which is kind of unfortunate for a feminist podcast, but women's farts smell worse than men's. Who would have thought of that?
I would say that's probably right.
Ashleigh's like, well.
Because I don't know about you, but whenever I get my period, oh my God, I feel like I could power the nation on natural gas.
Wow. So apparently there was a study conducted by Dr. Levitt who found that men and women pretty much fart the same in terms of they produce the same amount of flatulence, but yet women's farts consistently contain, I hate the word consistently contain, significantly greater concentrations of hydrogen sulfide.
So we're stinkier.
That sucks.
So we can still just blame the guys though, right?
Yeah, totally. And do you know the average that most people fart per day?
I read once, I think it was like 14?
14 to 22 times a day.
22 times?
14 to 22 times. You're going to start counting now.
Yeah, I am going to keep count actually.
Uh,
But like what happens if you get one that is like it stops but then it keeps going? Like it has a couple of pauses. Do you count them separately or are they just like one elongated misfiring fart?
I think you should just count it as one.
All right. Well, then I reckon I've just reduced the number of fluffs I do a day.
Well, here's something else about farts that I didn't know. Farts can actually explode. They can. I'm going to find you. So I love Googling interesting facts.
My favorite fact of the day.
As ridiculous as it seems, when someone sets their fart on fire in those wildly popular bro comedy flicks, your farts are actually flammable. Two chemicals in farts, methane and hydrogen, are highly flammable, which is what makes it actually possible to make a small explosion. How's that? Not that anyone should walk around putting lighters to their butts.
I mean, South Park, I think, taught me that a little bit with, you know, they keep killing Kenny, and I think that's one of the methods they use. But I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm also kind of in awe that that's possible.
I'm trying to see what else happens. Oh, farts are actually really fast. They've clocked farts at up to 3 meters per second. That's 7 miles per hour, which is faster than the standard hoverboard.
They're faster than a hoverboard. Hoverboards have only just come into existence.
Well, they've been working on this. And vegetarians fart more than non-vegetarians.
That makes sense. I went veggie last year and it is amazing. If you find farts hilarious, like you will not be depressed if you go veggie. Like it's one of the many benefits. I just laughed the whole time. It's amazing. But you know, my partner went off the charts, gassy, bad. So I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you poop?
Oh my God. Daily?
I think that's a healthy answer.
I think you are meant to. I think you are meant to poop daily.
I reckon that sounds about right. Like,
I will find the information. I will Google it.
Yeah, I think if you're pooping like 6 times a day, that's probably a problem. Like there'll just be nothing left in you. Like
you'll have no time to do anything else.
You'll have to work on the toilet, and that will be the next pandemic thing. We'll all be working on the toilet.
Well, let's Google it. How many times do you poop a day? There's generally no accepted number of times a person should poop. As a broad rule, 3 times a day to 3 times a week is normal.
3 times a week?
That's like the difference between 21 times and 3 times.
I poop at least once a day. Like at least once.
I know when my
Far
partner's
out.
pooping because his mobile phone's missing for about 25 minutes and no one is very quiet. You're like, nah, he's in the toilet.
I'm curious, do you have in your household, how do you treat going to the toilet? Is it an event? Is it something you're like, we don't talk about that? It is an unspeakable.
Not really anything we talk about. It's like you just go. Although if I'm at someone else's house, yeah, I can't. I'm like, no, it's not happening. It's just, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't know about it. And if people pee too loudly, I'm like, do you really need to pee that loudly?
Shoot it off to the side, guys. Ladies are a little bit different. The aiming exercise is not as easy.
Just And don't pee on the floor. Oh my god, the number of men that leave drops on the floor. Clean it up. It's not necessary.
I used to have a housemate that would just miss the bowl completely almost, and he would just leave it there. And I would get up early to go to work, and I'd be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning for work, but I couldn't go to the bathroom because he pissed all over the floor right before he went to bed and not cleaned it up. And I was like, can you like sort this out? I'd go and like bang on his
You sort this
and I'd
out
be like,
now.
not my job to
Then
clean
just
this shit
fix
up
the
for
whole
you. I'm
bathroom.
not your mother.
I know. It's so gross. What about this for an interesting fact? The parrotfish eats coral and poops out sand. This has led to the creation of small islands and beaches.
David Attenborough taught me that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, good old
He's
David.
a good guy.
What about this one? There are 4 bags of astronaut poop on the moon left behind by Neil Armstrong.
Why?
Who would do that? You put up like the American flag and then like
A
4
bag of
bags
shit.
of shit.
I mean,
Not 1, 4. Like, take it home. Why would you pollute the universe?
also, like, on the off chance that aliens come our way and they're like, oh, what's that on the moon? And they see the flag and they're like, it's a flag. What's this shiny object here in this bag? Let's examine it. Maybe it's
Let's
dead.
examine that. No, let's not. Let's
Like,
not.
what the fuck kind of a greeting is that for aliens?
I don't know what his karma's going to be.
I hope it's really stinky. And I hope space has done nothing to dull the smell.
How's this? This is really cute. I don't know if you're a massive fan of sloths, but my daughter Lila is a massive, 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 massive fan of sloths. So sloths only poop once a week, and it's called the poo dance. And apparently there's a video of it on YouTube.
Oh my God, I need to watch this.
I know, right? None of us would go, we should go, what, like YouTube something pooing. But when you hear
I saw a video of a
sloth
bat
does a poo
pooing,
dance,
and I was
you're like, oh, that's so cute.
I saw
It's
this.
a sloth.
I saw a video of a bat peeing, and I was so happy. It just made me really happy. I was like, I want to pee like that. I just want to hang off a clothesline and be able to just,
Wow.
like take a whiz. Like, it's just so casual.
How is this for an interesting fact? Scientists were monitoring whale stress levels by analyzing their poop, and they found that their stress levels plummeted immediately following the 9/11 attacks. It turns out that this was due to all the air traffic being halted, which calmed the ocean of low frequency noise which whales use to communicate. Isn't that incredible? Not that their poops can, figure out their stress levels, but that
That's kind of cool.
that air traffic actually affects the noise frequency in the ocean.
That's pretty amazing to think.
I know.
Wow. I wonder how many of them got lost because they couldn't like hear directions properly. I don't want to think about that now because actually that's kind of sad.
I know. Aww. Apparently the smell of some books make people need to poop. It's called the Mariko Akoi phenomenon.
I mean, I love the smell of a musty old book because it just makes me happy.
Musty old
but
book.
It's never made me need to defecate.
Oh no, this is the best. It's not the best. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but there is poop transplants. So when people suffer from certain illnesses, doctors can actually transplant poop from a healthy person into the stomach of someone with a specific illness, and it actually helps them to heal.
I've heard about this. It's to do with your microbiome.
Like the bacteria.
Yeah, it's to do with your gut health.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, and I'm like, I don't know how.
Ew. I'd still be like, no. I'll just die. It's fine.
I have to.
What if I eat a lot of yogurt?
Exactly. I have to share with you a bit of a family.
Oh, and sometimes like with the poop transplant, they have capsules of poop that you have to swallow.
That's so nasty.
How could you? It's got to be a joke. Could you imagine being a doctor and go, yeah, you've got to
I'm
swallow
prescribing you some shit.
Meanwhile, on YouTube.
Oh, that's foul. That's so bad.
Who
I mean-
came up with that?
I mean, who are
Oh,
the people who were producing this pharmaceutical grade poop? Are they being reimbursed, or are they just doing it because they think it's a good joke?
I
I need to know more.
need to know more.
New career path for all of us. I have to share with you a family. I'm going to say my family's culture around poo and farts. And in my family, we have a lot of people with gut health issues. So we have a lot of people with celiac disease, with fructose intolerance, lactose intolerance, IBS, and just a bunch of other stuff. Like they're all just a bit skew-iff in the belly. And when I was a child, my stress always manifested in my stomach and as a digestive issue. So they all thought
So
that I
many
had.
people do.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's
People
so
don't
common.
realize. People don't realize how much stress can impact your bowel movement and your body's ability to digest food. Like sometimes, this is TMI, but food would literally go in and come straight out 5 minutes later. Like, not healthy.
Not healthy.
Not healthy at all. But I had
What-
to go to what's
Yeah.
called an incontinence clinic when I was a child to teach me how to poop.
Heaps of children do. As a mother, I hear this is so common.
Really?
So common. Yeah.
Tell me more, because
I don't know more because I've never had to deal with it. But although no, yeah, my daughter, she did have an issue, but that was completely different. That was to do with what was it? Yeah, but she used to get that was more like a gluten intolerance that caused her to get really constipated.
ew.
Mm.
I used to have to go and learn how to, like, I had to keep like a food diary and like a poop diary. Now, for fun, I do recommend that you Google the poo chart.
Oh, is this the one that I sent you the other day? I showed someone the poo chart and we were in stitches.
That poo
And then I made my
chart,
partner,
oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
point out your poo. And he's like, no, babe, I'm not doing this.
The poo chart has been a staple in my family as long as I can remember.
Oh.
And we just used to say, like as soon as it sort of got to a point where there's one, I think it's like number 3 or 4, which is the ideal poop, which is supposed to be kind of like a fat sausage-like or zucchini-like. I just could not do food that looked like that. Like I just can't do sausages anymore. Can't do that. It's too much like the poop.
It's too much. It's too much.
But because of all of these like gut issues in my family, we're like super open about it, like really, really open, to the point where we have games that we play together where we rank each.
Actually, it doesn't sound good. Are you sure you want to share this?
So for context, we're not all pooping in front of each other, I promise. But we have games that we play where we rank each other's farts and the residual stench of each other's poop. Now, I don't play this anymore because my partner wins this hands down and I don't want to be exposed to that kind of toxicity. But we have...
But as a woman, apparently, scientifically, you should win.
I don't, trust me. He takes the cake. It's called the dead rat rating. And I suppose that we kind of go by, it's like, how many dead rats do we think have crawled up someone's bum and died?
Oh, no.
And it's ranked out of 10. I swear to God, I've never peed more laughing than when playing this game.
Oh, that is so funny.
It's disgusting as well.
Yes.
It's one of our bonding memories.
Sure, it's not your proudest family moment.
Other families might cook together, but no. On my father's side of the
I
family,
don't know. Other families play Scrabble, Monopoly.
we kind of have a countdown to see how quickly the conversation can turn from mundane, everyday things to poo and farts and bowel stuff.
Didn't go downhill.
Like literally, like, oh, we got there in like record time, didn't we?
Well, this is a really interesting fact, especially for a city like Dubai. And I don't know if any of our listeners can actually back this up, which again, sorry for the pun, but Dubai apparently does not have a storage system. So they have to haul it away in trucks.
So what do they do with it when it's in a truck? Do they bury it in the sand? Is there like a poo farm in the middle of the desert?
They drive it away. I don't know. We might have to ring Dubai and find out. Maybe there's a minister for poop we can interview in Dubai. Oh, again, there's YouTube videos about this. Oh, here you go. This is a really interesting one. For all of those romantics out there lying on their picnic blankets with either your small children or your partner or your lover at nighttime watching the shooting stars and making wishes. Some of those shooting stars we actually see are actually astronaut poop burning up in the atmosphere.
That's a cruel joke. I think we should write to NASA about this. They can direct their poo somewhere else.
So if your wish didn't come true, probably wasn't a star. Oh, how's this one? Ancient Egyptians used pessary made of dried crocodile dung as a form of contraception.
Explain how this is done, because more information is needed, because
Explain.
I'm imagining a woman.
I think you just have to tell someone that you've done that and they're like, I'm not sleeping with you. It's a small soluble block that is inserted into the vagina. So who would put dried crocodile poop into the vagina? Ancient Egypt.
Query, did it work?
I don't know. But apparently, I mean, seriously, if you put some dried crocodile dung up your clacker, I'm pretty sure your partner's not going to go in. I'm pretty sure sex would be off the table.
I don't know. People did some pretty gross things back in your days. I mean, they also didn't have deodorant back then either to cover anything up.
Oh, too
I'm
funny.
kind of grossed out by that.
I know.
So how often do you guys poop, listeners? Is it normal? Do you have nicknames for your poops? What are your funniest poo and fluff stories? I would love to know. Whenever I'm upset, I have a favorite memory that I go to if I'm like having a really down day, and without fail, it just makes me burst into laughter. And it's I was having dinner with my partner's parents, so parents-in-law. My father-in-law drove us home, and we'd all gotten out of the car in the driveway, and we're all just saying goodbye to each other when my partner does a really long, loud fart, and it was like dead quiet. It's like the one time it's dead quiet at my house. Never happens.
No.
And my partner was stood there doing this fart, and he made eye contact with me like, oh shit, this is embarrassing. But then he proceeded to make eye contact with his dad, and he held it the whole time.
Like, look away.
What are you doing? Okay, maybe it's not that funny for you guys listening, but for me, like the look on his face, the look on my father-in-law's face is comedic gold.
Comedic gold.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. But it is. There's so many interesting things. Apparently, the white sands as well in Hawaii and the Maldives is primarily made again of parrotfish poop. So when you see all those like photos, Instagram photos of hot girls covered in white sand.
They're covered in fish poop.
They're covered in poop.
It's so decadent.
That is so funny.
Oh my goodness.
Apparently, people also don't sit on the toilet properly. Apparently, they should be squatting instead of sitting.
The squatty potty.
And there is such a thing called the squatty potty.
Have you seen the squatty potty ads?
I've never seen a squatty potty ad.
Verity. Oh my God, it's going to make your day. I don't know how you've never. I'm going to send them both to you.
I don't know if it's going to make my day.
It will make you smile and laugh. It's disgusting, and your daughters will love it.
Oh, it's too funny.
I'd love to know, do you know what I've never understood is how so recently in Australia we've had toilet paper gate.
Yeah.
And it got a little bit hairy for us for a couple of days because we weren't sure if we were going to find toilet paper in time. Luckily we did. We only had to travel half an hour away and scope out a bazillion stores to get it. I've never really understood what the alternatives are to toilet paper, which is a bit weird. So I'd love to know what your hygienic alternatives are to toilet paper, listeners, if you have them.
I would assume baby wipes, serviettes, like the paper ones, paper towel, just having a shower and soap and water.
Here's my shameful question.
Here's your shameful question.
What if it's a really messy poo?
Then shower. It's like if my girls have diarrhea, then I put them in the shower and I go wash. There's nothing that's going to, and I'd rather they did that even if we had toilet paper. I don't want waste a whole lot of toilet paper. I'm like, just go jump in the shower. It's quicker, it's easy. Although my parents used to have bidets and they absolutely loved them.
I don't understand what a bidet does.
It shoots water up your bum. And so it just it's like a high pressure hose. Imagine that. You know when you for high pressure hose, not like the $400 one you get from Buddy, but would remove paint off a wall. It's gentler than that. But it is. It's that kind of idea where it just cleans the water.
So it shoots water up your
Not
clacker.
up there, just around the whole area. Just, flushes it away. It's incredibly hygienic.
I mean, okay.
Ashleigh's like, what?
It still is such a foreign concept to me. And I still one of my missions in life is to go and check out one of those Japanese toilets, the ones with all the buttons and a seat warmer and all that stuff. And just to check them out because I'm like,
seat warmer.
I don't know. They've got all these fancy things.
How much time are people spending on the toilet to need a seat warmer?
In our house, toilet time is sacred
If you're my
time.
partner, it's a half an hour, yeah.
And it's fine. We're just don't come in. And actually, we now have a saying in our house that toilet time is thinking and philosophizing time. So it's look, if you're really stressed out, just go to the toilet and figure it out.
And figure it out.
Figure out your problems on the toilet. Have a poo, you'll feel heaps better.
Well, here's an interesting fact that I didn't know. Poop is brown because of dead red blood cells and bile. It's got nothing to do with your leftover food.
Oh my God. That answers so many questions. When I was a kid at school, I used to ask my teacher all the time when she was teaching us about the human body. And I'd be like, so what happens when your blood cells die? Where do they go? And she had no idea. And I had that question for so many years.
It's poo. I've answered it. You should email your high school teacher and let her know.
She's still teaching at the same school. I might.
Ash, I can see Ashleigh's face, and she's literally like, yes, I should email her.
I really should.
You really should. She's actually contemplating this, seriously.
I'm pretty sure I annoyed the Jesus out of her with that same question because she didn't explain it to me. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. How can that be possible? It doesn't just disappear.
And this is the thing. Most people think that their poo is food. It's not. Poo is mostly bacteria. 50 to 80% of your poo, excluding water, because apparently most poo, it's 75% of poo is water, which is, I don't get that. But anyway, 50 to 80% of poo, excluding water, is actually bacteria that has been living in your intestines and was then ejected as food passed through. Many of the bacteria in poop is still alive, but some are dead.
Oh my God, are we drowning them?
I don't know what we're doing with them. But not all poo is bacteria. Your poo also includes indigestible plant matter, like the cellulose of vegetables.
Does this explain corn?
It does explain corn. So corn apparently has a cellulose fiber on the outside that actually keeps the corn intact and stops the corn from getting broken down in the stomach.
That's disgusting.
Ta-da!
It's disgusting, but I love it.
I don't know why I actually know that fact. That scares me even more.
I can totally see you at parties now. Just guys, here's my part.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, about poop. Oh, it's so funny. And what about this? So poo normally is between a brownish color. Oh, here you go. What about this one? So poo is brown because it's mostly broken down red blood cells and bile. Without that present, poop would be pale grey or white. We know this because people who have liver disease or clogged bile ducts causing little or no bile to get into their intestines have very light coloured feces, also known as alcoholic stool.
Okay.
So if you know anyone who's an alcoholic, just get them. Just ask them, what colour is
I
your
mean,
poop?
I have so much trouble imagining that coming from a human. Oh.
So here's something else. Yellow stools can be a result of a parasitic infection or pancreatic cancer. Black or dark red poop can be an infection of bleeding in the upper GI tract or of eating beetroot.
I have seen that before.
Let's hope the second option. Green feces is also a sign of an infection. And if your poo is blue, it's probably because you ate food
Come on, we've
colouring.
all done that where we've had the food colouring and we're like,
So
what?
there you go. Next time you go to the toilet, you can diagnose some medical conditions.
I love it. Oh gosh. Okay, I think we are inviting a bit of a meme war and a bit of a, share your hilarious YouTube videos kind of thing on our page with this.
I might stop looking at our page.
Bullshit, you'll keep looking and you'll keep laughing.
I want the sloth. I'm going to find the sloth dancing poo video.
Yes.
Because for some reason I'm convinced it's cute.
On like a serious note though, I hope that like us talking about it, number one, has brightened your day a bit amidst all of this pandemic stuff. But also, I kind of hope it makes you feel like it's normal and not so terrible and awful, because quite frankly, I can't tell you the number of people I've met who are really uptight and very tightly wound about their bowel and what it does, and they're completely horrified by it. And it's literally, as my partner says, it's natural. It's a natural bodily function. We have to do it.
Yeah.
And I hope it just helps break down that barrier a little bit.
Apart from my house, I don't need to break down the barriers.
Hey Verity, I pooped at your house. when I
Don't
visited.
want to know how anyone poops. Shut the door.
I swear that's where most podcasts are listened to. Well, lovelies, thank you so much for listening to this short but hilarious episode of Good Girls Don't.
Hey, if you want to continue this conversation, head over to our Facebook page and be part of the revolution. You can find us at Good Girls Don't Podcast on Facebook. Please note we cannot create change alone. Your support, likes, comments, shares, and iTunes reviews help us to give a voice to the insanely inspirational women and the controversial issues that we discuss.
If you'd like to be a part of our podcast, or if you have an issue that you have a burning desire for us to bring into the light, please contact us. With fierceness, Ashleigh
And Verity.
Get ready for the revolution.